Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Weirdly Cosmic podcast. I am Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl, Cosmic Owl Astrology. And before I dive into the Capricorn New Moon that is on December the 23rd, 2023, I want to invite you all to my solstice celebration, if you're listening before the 21st, and my overview for 2023. The link's going to be in the show notes below, or you can find it on my Facebook page or my link tree that's on Instagram. But it's a free call. Recording will be available, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to do a shamanic journey to celebrate the solstice, because this solstice is kind of wonderful. But also the 2023 forecast. You might want to come and listen to that, see what's going ahead. So I'm recording this on December the 11th. So on an 11 day, which is very appropriate, really, and just kind of happened that way because this Capricorn new moon is all the ones. But we're going to look at the chart in a minute. First, I pulled a card. And, like all swords tarot in general, if you look at it that way, ruin, ooh, but reversed swords cards are pretty cool. And this one, the 10 of Swords reversed, as I wrote in my book, if you haven't got my book, Complete Guide to Tarot and Astrology, is rising above recovery, survival, and lessons learned. And that feels very, very appropriate for this new moon that is coming right on the back of the solstice. So the solstice is on the 21st and the Capricorn new moon is on the 23rd. So let's have a quick look at the chart, and then I'll talk about what's going on, and then we'll look into the numbers and all that and the symbols. So the new moon is on December the 23rd, 2022. It's the last new moon of the year. It's on a 5-day and a 5 universal day. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 6 is 14. So it's a 14-5 universal day. 5 is a number of change. Real change is coming on this new moon, in my opinion. Okay, so the new moon itself is at 1 Capricorn, almost exactly conjunct Hygeia by just like 6 minutes, in a square to Ceres and in a square to Jupiter, so forming a cardinal T-square that is active also on the solstice. So I'll talk about what all that means. A couple of other things I'm going to talk about are that Chiron is stationing direct on the 23rd, so on the new moon, at 11 degrees and 56 minutes of Aries. So that's a cardinal sign as well. And Capricorn is a cardinal sign. So I'll talk all about that. And the other aspect I want to talk about is Mars square Vesta. Okay, so we'll be diving into all of that. But one first thing I want you to notice is that this is all at 1 degree. This is all at 1 degree. Jupiter's not quite at the 1 degree mark of Aries, and I'll be doing a separate video for Jupiter in Aries with all signs, but he's almost there. So, we're getting a lot of ones, and 0 is kind of infinity, kind of the new start of a new journey, fool's journey anyway. The new moon is also in a sextile aspect to Haumea, which is at 0 Scorpio. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. And Jupiter and Haumea are in a quincunx to each other, which is an aspect of adjustment. So I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But first, let me say it is a cardinal new moon, and it making a cardinal T-square. So it's very much new beginnings. But let's look at the numbers before we dive into that. So number 1 is number one represents with new beginnings, creation, independence, motivation, striving forward and progress. It really resonates with the energies of pioneering, raw energy, force, activity, self-leadership, assertiveness, all that kind of thing. Now, we did have a 1 degree Sagittarius new moon. Now we're getting the 1 degree Capricorn new moon. Then we're going to get 2 more 1 degree Capricorn new moons. Sorry, 1 degree new moons in Aquarius and Pisces before we move into Aries season next year, where we actually have a new moon at 0 Aries on the cardinal point, on the Aries point, which is like the world point, not the cardinal point, the world point. And then we also get a new moon at 29 Aries. I'll look at that later, but I want you to see the progress of where we're going. So that in itself carries the energy of new beginnings. Numerology dash the numbers in their meanings.blogspot.com in their post about number one does say that this the number one relates to the Sun tarot card and the Magician tarot card. So they're really like positive new beginnings with this number one. It also resonates with the day of the week, which is Sunday, which is when I'm recording this. So, you know, we can see that this is a real kind of boost, a new start. All right. But I want to look at the number 11 as well, because there's so many ones. And Chiron is stationing direct at 11 degrees. So the 11 is, and I'm recording this on the 11th, is the 11 is the karmic master teacher, which is illumination, enlightenment, inspirational, idealism, intuitive. So again, kind of new starts, enlightenment. We kind of feels like we're kind of waking up. All right. But then quickly look at number 5, because it's a 5-day in a couple of ways. And 5 is the most prevailing number in nature and art. And it is the number of Venus. And it symbolizes fire and the stigmata. 5 is very much about freedom, unconventionality, individualism, and a lot of change energy with the 5. So looking back at the chart, I'm not going to show it again, but we've also got Mars squaring Vesta at 10 degrees, which is another one. So there's just 1s and 5s all over this, all right? And the actual new moon, 5 is a Venusian number, and the new moon itself is on Friday, the Venus day. So again, lots of creative, amazing energy in this. And one last little point about the numbers. On the new moon, Venus is at 60 degrees Capricorn, which is just 2 degrees away from her Venus star point from January 2022. And she is newly emerged as the Libra evening star, which is Venus ruled. So Venus is speaking in many ways on all of this. But Saturn rules this new moon. So it is a determined new moon. And Saturn is at 21 Aquarius with this energy of building for the future. And we're kind of getting a real glimpse with all of this, with Saturn going through Aquarius, remembering that Jupiter and Saturn did meet for their great conjunction at 0 Aquarius. We're kind of feeling ready to emerge from this crazy period of awful chaos that we've been in. And we've got a real energy of new beginnings. I'm really excited about the fact we're having a 0 Aries new moon, but next year, but I'll talk about that later. All right, so that's the numbers, new beginnings, new excitement, new illumination, gateways to new beginnings. So exciting, very much about healing. And that brings me to the actual energies involved. So the new moon is a conjunction of the sun and the moon always. A full moon is the opposition. So the moon and sun are together in the sky from our perspective on a new moon. And this one is, and the moon has no light, of course. So it's the no moon as well, because the sun is not lighting the moon. And it's a new start in that cycle as well. So more new beginnings. So this new moon is conjunct Hygeia, as I said. And Hygeia is health, hygiene, holistic health. She's kind of got this seer energy, according to my friend Leah Whitehorse, who's done a lot of work on Hygeia, because she is preventative. She is looking forward. What do we need to do to prevent ill health in all ways, really? And in Capricorn, this is very much to do with the structures of our lives, what we're building, the institutions we're attached to, the actual physical structures of our world, and what we're determined to build moving forward. So what do we need to bring in to prevent kind of any ill health, if you like? Now, as I said, the new moon is square to Ceres. Incidentally, I did a Ceres overview on my YouTube channel, which you can look at. I'm going to be doing a series on series through the signs, but you might want to watch the overview first to understand Ceres. But Ceres on this new moon is in Libra, square to the new moon, also at 1 degree. And Libra is the sign of health. And Libra is the sign back to Hygeia. Ceres is the sign of balance. Libra, excuse me. All this Mars retrograde in Gemini is opposing my Jupiter right now, so I'm kind of like, and on my moon. But anyway, it's not bad, it's just tongue twister sometimes. Yeah, Ceres in Libra. Libra is about balance, harmony, relationships, and it's Venus ruled. And it's saying how can we nourish each other. Okay, she is nourishment. She's also grief and forgiveness. So there's an element of forgiving ourselves for not having nourished each other in our relationships. But it's a real kind of coming together with Ceres in Libra. It's thinking about how we nourish everybody, ourselves, each other, all our relationships. How do we nourish our relationships? And so this is part of this new moon. But Ceres is opposing Jupiter. And Jupiter is just moved back into Aries on this new moon. And that's what's my part. How can I expand my part in bringing the healing and the balance and the coming together in Libra? Now, Ceres and Jupiter will be exactly opposing each other on December the 18th, before this new moon, at the anaretic or last degrees of Pisces and Virgo, before both change signs. And so that anaretic degree is about practical mysticism. How do we connect with our interconnectedness and bring it back down into kind of service and really kind of holistic health? And then both move and say, right, it's time to get to work on this. And on this new moon, which is, T-squares kind of get a bad name. There is tension, of course, in a T-square because it's an opposition and two squares, but that motivates, that's pushing us to really initiate changes in our lives and collectively. So it's quite wonderful to my mind. I love that the new moon is also sextile to dwarf planet Haumea, which is birth and fertility. And she, to my mind, is helping us to birth the new paradigm. And Haumea is in Scorpio, and she'll be in Scorpio. She just recently moved into Scorpio and she'll be in Scorpio till April when she moves back into Libra, but just for a short while. April till October next year, she moves back into Libra, but then she moves into Scorpio for many years. And Scorpio really is kind of the sign most associated with our reproductive organs and things. So very appropriate that she's in Scorpio on this new moon and aspecting the new moon. And she'll be aspecting the next new moons as well. So Mars retrograde in Gemini. At this point, he is 20 days, 3 weeks away from stationing direct. He's at 10 degrees Gemini. It's finishing up his retrograde. It's been an interesting retrograde. There's kind of been a lot of people kind of battling and fighting with Mars retrograde in Gemini, but it's more in a kind of way of sorting out which battles you need to pick and so on and so forth. I've become very liberal with my Facebook block button during this period because I'm just like, I'm not going to fight. I'm just like, no, done with that. We don't need to be friends kind of thing. Anyway, and Mars is at 10 degrees, and incidentally, he's at 10 degrees 55 minutes on this 5-day. And he's saying it's time to start initiating the changes that we've been going through in our communities. Interesting things may have shown up with siblings and also journeys, short journeys, and local community. But Mars is in an almost exact square with Vesta, the asteroid of focus, commitment, devotion in Pisces. And it's really saying we have to focus and move back into this connection with each other, our interconnectedness. And again, it's a square, so it's tense. Where have we not remembered our interconnectedness? Quite magical in my opinion. Incidentally, Mars did square Vesta on October the 20th, 22, at 0 degrees of Pisces and Gemini. So this is kind of a reminder of a journey that began back on August the 20th, 2022. A couple of other energies that are going on. Juno is coming up to conjunct Neptune on the new moon, and Neptune is opposing asteroid Lilith. She's kind of the talk to the hand. She's like going, no, I'm not taking this anymore. She's the asteroid Lilith is the only physical Lilith in the cosmos, and Neptune opposing Lilith is saying it's time to say no more of this you know, separation, remembering that we're all connected again and coming back into a more holistic way of being, where masculine and feminine are joined and we all look after each other instead of the battling and changing. But adding to that, Juno, who is the actual partnership asteroid, is conjunct Neptune on this. And they're both in a lovely wedge aspect to Mercury in Capricorn at 21 degrees. So Mercury, the messenger, is at this point 3 degrees away from stationing retrograde on the 29th. We're about in the retrograde zone on this new moon. So whatever comes up in the new moon, yes, it is a new start and things, but we're also going to be kind of we're going to spend some of the lunation cycle saying, yeah, we're revisiting that. Yeah, we're going to cut that out. Yeah, that association with this institution perhaps no longer works. We're going to tie up some odds and ends and really work on kind of nailing down the structures of our lives. One thing it brings to mind for me, this energy, this wedge aspect, is kind of wills, or wills, last will and testament, or creating a, what's that word, I can't remember, creating, a container for all your assets, and just tying up all those kind of real details in your world. Or it could be, moving bank accounts, or this one doesn't work, moving your just really tightening down the structures of your life. Okay, so there's a lot to do with that. And also, of course, Capricorn's a very entrepreneurial sign. So if you're in the entrepreneurial kind of bent like me, you'll be working on your goals and so on for the next year, especially because Saturn is also at that 21-degree mark and aspecting all this energy. It's like, where are my goals no longer in alignment? They may have been before, but no longer. It's just a wonderful new moon to my mind. It's very driven. It's kind of serious. It's going, yeah, it's time to really get serious and dig down, and to really start to build the new paradigm from your own perspective. So I'm going to look at the symbols. So before I do, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, try and watch to the end, even if you just leave it going in the background, because I'm nearly at a goal on my YouTube channel, and so any of your support can help. So thank you for that, and thank you for everybody who shows up and watches and listens and comments. And I don't know if you've noticed that I'm spending more time on YouTube. I actually post my daily posts on YouTube as a community post now. And my aim is to really spend more time over here, because there's a couple of other social media places that are not aligning as much. So that's talking about the structure. If you're listening on wherever you like to listen to podcasts, please, really take the time to listen, but maybe still go to Cosmic Owl Astrology on YouTube and give me a subscribe to help me along. But also any reviews on iTunes would be really helpful. So anyway, thank you. So let's look at the symbols. Oh, beautiful new moon. Let's start with the Sabian symbol. Remember, this new moon is on Venus Day. This is 3 rose windows in a Gothic church, 1 damaged by war. The keynote is the necessary realization by any individual making a violent use of collective power that it will lead to the inevitable destruction of some of the values, ensuring group integration. Rudyard said, "It seems obvious that the interpretation of this symbol should refer to the disruptive consequences of war. The chief who claimed power from his tribe in order to lead or save it must reckon with the consequences of a too impulsive use of this power in terms of violence. The integration he seeks to maintain or enhance may be partially destroyed if in his ambition he yearns to be the victorious war leader glorified by the people. A rose window is not absolutely essential to a cathedral, yet it symbolizes that through which the light of the spirit enters into the edifice. Human soul is said to be threefold. Which part of humans' inner trinity of principles tends to be destroyed by the use of violence? Evidently, the principle of love and compassion. Okay. Now, the rose window, incidentally, is the Venus cycle, and this is on a Venus day, and we're in this new Libra Venus age, okay, that we're moving into. And here we have Ceres at the beginning of Libra in this, and Venus in Capricorn in the sign of the new moon. This is the creative star. It's the energy of the higher self. Okay. Oh, incidentally, one other thing I meant to mention, speaking of Venus, is you have until the end of the year to join my Venus enchantment community, where we work with the Venus cycle on an ongoing basis. But if you join by the end of the year and remain a member, at least through the end of September next year, when the class finishes, you will get my renowned Venus retrograde heroines journey class for free. I'm going to download a list of emails on the end of the year of people who are in my community. And if you're still in the community on the Venus, when Venus retrogrades in July through to September, you will have free access to my Venus retrograde class, which is going to cost $297. Oh, so you can find the link to my community below. I hope you'll join us. We have group calls. I do almost daily video reports and some tarot cards for most days, and this Cosmic Owl Astrology School that you will also have access to 2 group calls a month. So check that out. But my point is, these 3 rose windows in a Gothic church, one damaged by war. We've kind of been in this like warlike state, really, fighting with each other and a separation and blocks. And to my mind, this is kind of a warning saying that we can rebuild. You know, which window in your life is damaged? You know, which one needs nourishment and healing with that Ceres Jupiter opposition? What do you need to rebuild? Okay, just think of that. That's what this says to me. And think of it as love and compassion, as Rudyard said, because that is what Venus represents. So the Chandra symbol for the new moon is a wisdom tooth that has been removed from someone's mouth. It is plated with gold. It's useless to know certain things out of context. If you have always known something crucially important, that kind of knowing does not serve you any longer. So you must place yourself in the antithesis of what you have always known. And then, when all seems lost, chaotic, and super strange, you must find deep inside you that spark of what you have always known, which holds true under impossible conditions. It always turns out that the massive superstructure, the beliefs and the concepts fall away, crumble to dust. But what was deeply and truly learned and made your own emerges far stronger than ever and provides a basis for the future. Meanwhile, in the thick of the action, it can look pretty desperate until the need is so acute that you reawaken that special place and make it work for you, when truth is a matter of life or death. I'm going to copy and paste that in the show notes, as always, so you can have a real soak in those words for you. But incidentally, teeth are kind of bone structures, and this is very Capricornian. So a wisdom tooth that has been removed from someone's mouth, it is plated with gold. Okay, so what's been removed? What's been taken away from you that was seen like a shiny object, or what needs to be removed that is a bit shiny object wise in my way of thinking? I like that interpretation. But anyway, either way, in all things, you know, I could talk and talk and talk forever and go into more detail, which would go like, yeah, but I just want you to know that this new moon is quite astounding. It's not easy, but then Capricorn is related to hard work. This is time to get diligent, time to get really clear on what you're building, what healing is needed, and to really think about where there's a new start in your life in all areas of Capricorn. So for now, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you for some other videos. If you check the little bell, you'll get to know when I upload them. And as always, just thank you for watching and listening, and look forward to new beautiful art from my She Who Is calendar next time.